Hello! So, we've been given a parallelogram. And we've been given a parallelogram where the angles are in terms of x's and in terms of y's. And we've just been asked to find out what the value of x and the value of y is. Well, what do we know about parallelograms? Well, we know that we've got two sets of parallel sides. So we know that this side and this side is parallel. And we also know that this side and this side is parallel. Now look at what we've got. We know that this angle here, which is the angle between the blue and the red side, so the amount of turn between the blue and the red side, must be the same as the angle in there. Does that make sense? Just looking at it, because this side is parallel to this side, and this side is parallel to this side. So when the two sides come together, then the angles must also be the same. The angles which they form must also be the same. So this angle must be the same as this angle, but also this angle must also be the same as this angle. So I can actually write in there that this angle here must be the same as whatever this angle is in here. So it's 4y minus 5x degrees. Okay. So if the two angles are equal, why don't we say, well, this angle then must be the same as this angle. Now, if things are equal, they're the same. So we just put an equal sign between them. So we can just simply say that 5x minus 20, so in other words, this angle down here, must be the same or is equal to this angle up here. So the 2x plus 43. Now look at this. I've got something is equal to something else, and I've only got one unknown. So I've got loads and loads of numbers lying around the place, but I've only got one unknown. I've only got x, which is my unknown. That's fine. I can totally solve that. So let's just look at how we can solve this. So I want to try and get the x just on its own. So I just want to end up with x is equal to something. Okay. Now in order to do that, I need to kind of move my pieces around. So let's take this 20 over to the other side. So if we take this 20 over to the other side, we can put it over there. But be careful, because if we take it over the other side, we have to change the sign. This is like an equals bridge. And when we take it over there, the penalty for passing that equals bridge is that we have to change the sign. So this becomes a positive 20. So what's 43 plus 20? 43 plus 20, that is 63, isn't it? So I can just change this into a plus 63. Okay, cool. Now, look, I've still got my x's spread out, though. I've still got 5x on this side, and I've still got 2x on this side. So why don't I then take this 2x, over the equals bridge, and put it on this side? But remember that the penalty for passing on this equals bridge is that we have to change the sign. So it becomes a negative 2. Okay, so look at what this is saying then. I've got 5x minus 2x. So I've got 5 xylophones, and I remove 2 xylophones. So how many xylophones am I left with? I'm left with 3 xylophones. So I'm just left with 3x. So I've got 3x is equal to positive 63, or just 3x is equal to 63. So what's stopping me now having x on my own? Well, this 3x, what does 3 written next to an x actually mean? It just means 3 times x. So in other words, in order to get rid of it, I'm going to have to divide through by x. Or if I take this 3 times over the other side, I'm going to have to change this times into a divide. Or I can just divide through both sides by 3. That doesn't really work as well, I don't think. So if I had 3x on this side, then in order to get rid of that 3 times x, I'm going to have to divide 3 by 3. Okay, but it's the same thing, so it just depends which way you want to think of it. So I've got 63 divided by 3. What's 63 divided by 3? I haven't got a calculator, remember, this is a non-calculator exam, so how am I going to work this out? So 63 divided by 3. Well, what's the biggest number that I know that 3 goes into? Well, I know that 3 goes into 30, for example. So 3 times 10 equals 30. But then if I double it, so I just times it by 2, then I can just say that 2 times 10 is 20. Then this becomes 60. So if I double it, I just double the 10 to become 20. Then I double the 30, becomes 60. Okay, so 60 is very, very close to 63. How far am I away? I'm 3 away. So what do I know? About 3? Well, 3 is just 3 times 1. So in other words, to get to 63, I just have to add this 60 and this 3 together. I just add this 60 and this 3 together, and I just add this 20 and 1 together. So I know then, I can say then, so that implies that 3 times 20 plus 1 is 21. Okay, and that must be equal to 60 plus 3, which is 63. So 3 times 21, which is 63. So therefore 63 divided by 3 must be must be 21. Okay. So I know then that x is equal to 21. That was nice and easy to work out, wasn't it? So x is equal to 21. So if you're unsure about how you should present that in the exam, this is how you present it in the exam. So I kind of just went through it kind of visually, so hopefully you can follow it. But if you wanted to write it down in the exam, then that's how you write it. So pause the video and have a look at that in more detail if you need to. Okay, so now I know that x is equal to 21, I can then evaluate all the angles with x in. So I can say then this angle here is 2 times x. So I know that x is 21, isn't it? So x is 21. So 2 times 21 plus 43. So what's 2 times 21? That's 2 times 21 is 42. So it's 42 plus 43. So what's 42 plus 43? That's equal to 85. So I can now just replace this angle here with 85 degrees. Now I know this angle here is 85 degrees. But I also know then that this angle here must also be equal to 85 degrees because they must be the same. So this angle here must also be 85 degrees. I can also replace this 5x just with 5 times x is just 5 times 21, which is equal to, well, 5 times 20 is 100, but I still need to add on the 1 times 5. So 1 times 5 is 5, so that's 105. So I can just replace with 4y minus 105, and I can also do the same in this one here. So 4y minus 105. Okay, so what else do I know then? What else do I know? Well, a parallelogram is a special type of shape. It's a quadrilateral. So a quadrilateral. Now, you've probably come across this word before, but just in case you haven't or you don't know what it means, quad means 4, okay? Lateral just means a line. But in this context, you know, a line is just a side of the shape. So actually, it's 4 sides. So quadrilateral just simply means 4 sides. And I know that angles in a quadrilateral must add up to, well, what do they add up to? Well, if I draw a quadrilateral, this is a quadrilateral, right? It's just a rectangle. And I can form 2 triangles out of a quadrilateral. Now, what do I know about all the angles in a triangle? Angles in a triangle must add up to 180 degrees, right? 180 degrees. So therefore, these 2 triangles here must be 180 degrees, right? But those 2 triangles form the whole quadrilateral. So therefore, the whole quadrilateral will just be those 2 things together. So it's 180 plus 180, which is just 360 degrees. And actually, that's generally how you work out all the angles in any shape. If you add a side, you add a triangle. Don't worry about that too much now, though. So angles in a quadrilateral must add up to 360 degrees. So in other words, if I come back up to my shape, all of the angles in this triangle, all the angles in this quadrilateral, not a triangle, quadrilateral, must add up to 360 degrees. So all the angles in the quadrilateral must add up to 360 degrees. So in other words, the green angles, so 85 degrees, okay, plus the other green angles, so the other 85 degrees, okay, plus the purple angles, so the 4y minus 105 degrees plus the 4y minus 105 degrees, that must add up to 360 degrees, okay? So then it's just a case of solving that equation. So this is the equation which I've got to try and solve. Well, let's combine together all the numbers first of all. So I've got 85 and 85. So 85 plus 85 is... 80 plus 80 is 160, but then I've still got 5 plus 5 to add on, so that's 10. So 160 plus 10 is 170. So I've got 170 there. But look, I've got 4y minus 105 plus 4y minus 105. So I can then take out the brackets because I'm just adding things together, right? Just take out the brackets. So I've got minus 105, then take away another 105. So if I just rearrange stuff around, so let's put the 105s next to each other. So let's just shift this along. Then I've got 105, take away 105. So you're happy that I've got, well, minus 100 is 200, but then I've got to take away another 5 and another 5. So it's minus 210, yeah? Minus 210. So I've got minus 210 here. And then if I just do more jiggling about a little bit, so I've got this, if I put this out the front, okay, this is a positive 170, right? So I've got minus 210 plus 170. Minus 210 plus 170. Well, the difference between 210 and 170, 210 take away 170, so just ignore the negatives for a minute. The difference between 210 and 170 is equal to 40, right? So if it's 210 take away 170, that's easy, that's 40. But it's not. It's negative 210 plus 170. So does it make sense then that the answer should be positive? No, it doesn't. It should make sense that the answer should be negative. If I just multiply through by negative, yeah? So it's just negative 40. So this bit here is just negative 40, okay? So let's group things together again. So that's equal to 360. Now, if I take this over to the other side then, because I want the y's on its own, take it over the other side, take it through the equals bridge, but the penalty for passing the equals bridge is I have to change the sign. Okay, so it becomes a 40. So what's 360 plus 40? That's nice and easy. That's just 400, right? But let's have a look. So I've got 4y plus 4y. So if I've got 4 yolks and I add another 4 yolks, you know, egg yolks. So I've got 4 yolks and I add another 4 yolks. So how many yolks have I got in total? I've got 8. I've got 8 yolks. So this just becomes, if I put these two things together, it just becomes 8 yolks or 8 y's. Okay, so I've got 8 y's equal to 400. Okay. So I just want y on its own. So at the moment, this is, this is 8 times y. So I could take it through the opposite bridge and it'll become a divide y. Or I could just divide y here. I divide 8 here. So divide 8 and divide 8. So if I divide through by 8, this just becomes y. And 400 on 8 just becomes 50. Because 50 times 8 is, well, 50 times 2 is 100. So then I double it again to get 50 times 4, which is 200, and then double it again to 50 times 8, so that's 200. So y is equal to 50. Okay. And again, here is how you should write it out in exam. I mean, you don't have to put all these steps in. You may be able to condense it down, but it's worth pausing the video, for example, and just sort of seeing if you follow the steps.